Hey everyone, we're back. It's about that time again. We are on day 2 of the group stages of the Adamant Cup, of which scheduling is pretty free form, and so we are going to get some wonderful races between some runners who have some very different records. We have on the left side here Dragus at 1-0. We have Nitzy, whose first race is hitting up today. I am Demarine 2. I am joined this evening by Deathlike. Deathlike, what is on your mind tonight?
How many seeds? How many seeds are we going to envision with more Earth Crystal free with some treasury? I mean, this flag set is much invokes the loot goblin in me, where I find that all the loot I can get, and maybe not, and adamant being a nice plus if we can get one. Well, maybe well, there's guaranteed one for the pink tail, but yeah. Loot. I'm hoping for some decent loot.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the full overworld here. You've got Zot, Baron Castle, and Cave Magnus, so this seed could go in a lot of different directions depending upon where our overworld routing is. I believe this is one of the flag setups that has 8 required key items. Just looking at everything here, because Trade Away the Rat Tail is 2, and then everything else is its own individual one. Yeah, this is 8 key items required. We're gonna be here a while, I bet.
Yeah, nothing seem outside of having the darkness crystal for the Babel. We don't really need to do moons per se, but having rolled a seed myself, there chances are there might be one loose item on the moon. So darkness crystal required, and I don't, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are some chains based on how things how things are rolled.
Yeah, we shall certainly see. I'm a big proponent of going to the moon. We do have giant. Experience is probably not going to be a problem. A lot of things that are going to be really interesting to probably talk about tonight, talking about shops and like the fact that we're on S standard, and there's some good stuff in shops. Again, we're back to Bacchus wines and coffins and hourglasses and sirens, and sirens seem a little less exciting on this flag set, but we'll see how our runners make that work.
Yeah, I think I did some shopping sprees, and they turned out pretty fruitful. They're nice. We get our favorite, lovely laugh man with the laugh track, but Caden starts with a decent weapon, so that should be a good start. We don't have to look for a Ort Mage because there she is.
Yeah, I mean, as power starts go, Kane and Rose is about as strong as it gets, which is always fantastic. Gungnir Lance is Kane's 4th best weapon, so nothing really to cough at. Defense Sword, White Spear, Dragoon Spear are the top 3, but the Gungnir Spear, of course, is going to go ahead and thrash most of this overworld. Let's see where these runners break for to start the run.
Already deviating, one going straight to the objective, and well, at least getting the free key items, as the saying goes, get your free key items, and the other choice is to get a character, which is certainly a viable choice. More characters will speed up your run just as well, and could be, depends on what's there to see if we want to avoid it. Looks like a Palom on Mount Hobbs.
Kane had a dancing dagger, so we've already got a weapon for the kid. Let's hope he stays alive through this, because you want him to get the experience. The key item from Edward was a required Sand Ruby, so it'll be a 3rd character here for Nitsky, and of course I said something, and God, Antlion just mauling this party.
Well, I mean, Antlion is kind of adjacent to its native home in a cave, but no moon journey this time, so I'm all for that.
I mean, just some heavy hitting here. It might be another Kane jump to get through this fight, but Dragus is not even gonna worry about that right now. He's gonna take the reset. So first sort of slip of the day, and we've just started. It's a tough call. Like, the Gungnir Lance gets you through a ton of fights there, and I love the call, but just trying to keep the kid alive and get through that's a little tough here.
Yeah, sometimes you kind of underestimate the power of a spot. And I mean, not a bad gamble. I would have at least I would have considered that too. Though I mean, with a Kane start, I would just try to get a little bit experience, just try to get Rosa with a little bit more life. That's fine. And we see Labard being the one on the bed, which I could. It's fine. In such objective, might as well keep Edward around until maybe we eat him until the spoon shows up, and then usually the math changes once a spoon shows up.
I mean, with C4 on, Edward takes up a very important spot in the party, which can be really difficult to sort of overcome. But Nitzy sees some beautiful mute arrows and decides to buy any. So not going to go with that plan. We've got going to pop this Boreas here. So Dragus wants out of this Baigan fight ASAP and instantly here. So going to just blow it up real fast, and that's the end of that. So we're going to get to see the Antlion item right now.
Yeah, Baigan, I mean, this is a good spot to be in. I mean, kind of aren't not in a powerful spot. Has we're kind of diluted HP due to having multiple parts. I mean, it's a good time to see when a nasty boss isn't in a really it's a pretty straightforward spot. So some really good loot in Damcien. We got Kane's best weapon, at least as an option on the table. Probably may want to use the other weapons as money or even darts if we even find an edge.
Yeah, White Spear is excellent. I know Dragus picked up a bunch of money. There's a strength ring in Antlion Cave, but a bandana for Nitzy. So trading strength gear here a little bit, as Nitzy is going to launch the hovercraft and hover on over here to Antlion Cave and probably slap that spear on Kane in just a moment, and then Dragus is going to take a second bite of the Antlion fight here with a little bit more power and a little bit more armor.
Yeah, I think. We would, especially early game, you want to get your attack multipliers up. So any sort of strength boost equipment definitely accelerates that progress. Every point counts. You need every 8 points of strength is an attack multiplier, and every character gets a starting 1 multiplier. So the maximum you get is 19 due to math. So the majority of your strength attack multipliers come from strength. The other, which is 2/3 of the overall multipliers available. The other comes from agility, which takes 16 points of agility, and usually is kind of longer to progress, as most characters, unless you're Edge, your agility growth takes its sweet time, unless you get lots of agility manipulating equipment like heroine robes or a ninja hat, which are invaluable for other things, including agility manipulation.
Yeah, interesting point here, by the way, for Nitzy cracking a Zeus Rage to get through the fight is that he cracked it a little later into the fight, which of course is going to be a little bit slower. So probably gives up a little bit of the time that Dragus gave up on top of Mount Hobbs there. So starting to balance out a little bit here. Both runners on the required tower key. So 2 items down, 6 to go. We got a little ways to go yet, everybody. So settle in. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, they'll be retracing steps until they deviate. I mean, we haven't even reached full bowl yet, and there's still quite a bit more to go. So, I mean, if you were racing this, where would your preferred first destination be?
I think at this point in time, I know Dragus in particular does need a heal. Nitzy is probably going to need a heal after taking this fight up here on top of the mountain. So, if you need a heal, you go to Fabul, so you route that in. If you want to cast some healing magic and route in Baron Inn, you can do that. But we're not quite at the I feel powerful enough to go into to try to fish in Eblin. Fishing in Eblin is a thing you can do for like a tier 8. You know, you could theoretically, very small chance of getting an adamant armor, or at least like an Avenger, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, I know Avenger statistically isn't the end game. Isn't the strongest end game, but it's the thing that everyone it's equip it and forget is the saying. It's just so. I mean, it's like it's in terms of raw firepower. I think it's like an 80. But when you're berserked, your damage is increased by 50%. So that 80 turns into essentially 120, which is about the same as a top tier cane weapon, and I know, and of course, most players will take advantage of Avenger related bugs where you have your equipped weapon and then swap it out for Avenger, and all the properties of the previous weapon are retained, and the character instantly becomes berserk as soon as they exit the item menu, the items from swapping weapons.
Yeah, basically the auto Zerk lets you take a lot of weight off your white mages. If on the off chance you don't find Bacchus Wines, it's just super handy for running a double Zerk comp. It's super nice. Cursed Ring located in Troy's armor shop, so that's always a nice one to see, certainly. White Cast from Kane's White Spear is going to do a pile of damage with no counter to Antlion, so nitzy is going to dust off the Antlion, add on the Black Mage here with the full experience complement, so good times there. Dragus has picked up his Sandrock here, so both our runners are sort of in about the same place in the overworld here.
Yeah, I mean, we have a few more spots to go to, like Mount Ordeals, although we do not have a Tella or Cecil on hand to kind of speed up wanting to go there. Detouring to Baron Inn is a more likely scenario. We have the option to, since we're not necessarily dependent on a Cecil or Tella, getting the extra character and the key item check in Baron Inn looks to be more appealing than trying to get a few early levels from 3 bosses that we have to face in Mount Ordeals. So, but we'll see where that takes them.
Also, Baron Inn does give you the option of throwing Edward into the sea where Leviathan will eat him and leave him be forever. Look, he's not that good, let's be real. Spoon's great and all, but, I'm not 100% here for the Edward game. But nitzy is going to, like I said, needs that heal. So, Fabul is where you go when you want to patch up and fight a boss. We'll see where Dragus goes right after.
Yeah, the free heals, it's really just a time saver. Anytime you want to heal up, you essentially have to go through the animation, spend the money, or at least consume an item, or in some cases just take a sip in the pots or healing tiles. Those will take time. So healing is not free. It's free in terms of it's there, but free, not essentially free for the time spent to actually perform the action.
Time is the opportunity cost of everything. You want to equip gear? Take some time. Want to heal up? Take some time. Want to go to the moon? Yeah, enjoy your cutscene. But Edge is the big bopper here. The proper and correct good Edward is waiting for us at this point in time, but nitzy is going to see the Mom Bomb on the bridge, should be able to take this down. First boss D-Lunars, so far they're not hitting very hard, and they only have about 200 hit points each, so they should not exactly have a great time here. More importantly, though, we'll see what the second boss is, because this one could be a sticking point.
Yeah, the karate spot which follows the initial 2-guard spot. Is it what it is? This is fun. Hey, it's the freebie. Why not?
It's free because it's really slow. Waterhag will hit really hard in the spot, but you'll get plenty of turns, so it should not be a worry here.
That and there's no XP, so it doesn't matter if they fall as long as they just do the damage to make this event speed up a little bit. It won't get any faster, but it's a shame when you try to attack and it actually misses, and it could be Tella.
Yep.
Doing it, yeah.
So, no key item for Dragus. It's a Samurai Bow, which is a slight upgrade over the Elven Bow for hitting, but does not have mage kill capacity. On the flip, nitzy has taken out the Bomb Bomb, cashing out that Boreas, so spending those items, burning that cash, and it's going to get a black belt shirt for his trebles. So, Mount Ordeals is where our path to continued progress will be, eventually.
Well, there's that other worst case Zot one. This is the surprise. So it could.
So the big thing, Deathlike, is the surprise doesn't exist on these flags. It's a free key item, so there's no Mist Dragon hunt. So Zot 1, not real. Interestingly enough, that's actually part of the design process for this flag set. Is we wanted no boss hunts. There's only one way to make it truly and officially no boss hunt, and that is by turning off the no free item flag and letting Edward hand you something to start the seed.
Yeah, that's I keep forgetting D-Mist hunts. Or like I'm too officially contracted to. Hey, I gotta find the D-Mist. Yeah, that being off the table, that simplifies things. So yeah, I guess trek up the mountain is a thing. But certainly the first thing everyone will do is pick up the free item from Edward, because that's just, I mean, if it's not the first thing you do, it's the second thing you do. You need to know if that key item dictates where you need to go next. And that was a free curse ring in the hidden waterfall area.
Yeah, Nitzy taking it back to 2018. This is a loot spot that's fallen out of favor in the last couple of years with loot waiting and everything. But man, oh man. Free Cursed Ring is 35 grand you don't need to spend, and that means that you could do something like carry a Sid or a Palom into the mid and late game and not worry about it, because you'll just slap the Cursed Ring on them. It gives you a lot of flexibility in these flags, so that's always a nice plus for sure.
Yeah, given that this is T-Wildish and we're limited to we're only limiting to T7 items, the looting you will pay off, and in this case, and usually most times you don't go out of your way to loot, but given that Baron does have high density, although they're in kind of hidden locations, you have to work a little bit for, but it's time well spent when you get something really rewarding. The Cursed Ring is certainly on the top of that list.
Hardcover in chat asking, are we Win Game or Win Crystal? All tournaments at this point in time have been Win Crystal, other than a couple of exceptions for World Series of Free Enterprise. We're going to kill Zeromus. We're going to get to see some butt tonight. I really should rephrase that. Take over.
Yeah. Yeah, Z. It's all about Z, and we're not going to pick up a free crystal. It's always, we have to complete our objectives. All 7 objectives for this flag set must be completed in order to receive the crystal. So yes, this is a completionist seed. Even if the objectives don't say we have to show up the moon, well, we're gonna be on the moon. We'll definitely need the big whale for the giant. That is certainly required. So just grab your popcorn and we'll be here for a bit. Don't worry. And I think both runners are retracing their each other's steps. So eventually they will end up on Mount Ordeals. It's just a matter of how fast they'll get to it.
But yeah, both our runners just clearing right out of the opposite side check here. So nitzy picking up Edge in the Baron Inn just as Dragus is going to go and talk to the old man at the top of the stairs here. Talk to the king who's taking a nap, gonna give him the shirt off his back, samurai bow for Nitzy, black belt shirt for Dragus here, so a whole lot of nothing and then some on our backtrack for both our runners, and we'll see if Dragus decides to loot a little bit more heavily here or shop. We know there's cabins here, and then both our runners are headed to Ordeals in darn near lockstep after 16 minutes, so far so good for both our runners.
Yeah, I think there was some mention of using the Elven bow and the samurai bow, and I'm all for using the samurai bow for offense. Though I mean we have a Palom available, so it's not half a bad idea to give him the Elven bow just because you get a wisdom boost, so then improve his offense, and occasionally kill some mage type enemies. And there's at least a decent number of mage type enemies, Maga Sisters, Azura. Those, so when they show up, Palom will still shine. Although we would like Palom to learn Quake and make things easy for everyone involved.
I mean, he'll certainly get Virus on the mountain here. 23 might be a little bit of a reach here, but this is really where you're hoping for, like Twin Harp or some sort of continued overworld access, because they're all required. Nitzy's going to give us our first big looting deviation, though, as he is going to go and hop in to Castle Ablon here, looking for some tier 7 possibilities. Trying to maybe get his hands on another big stick or an Avenger or an Adamant armor. So we'll see how his party is equipped for fighting off the monster chest. Also, Zeus Gauntlet, so plus 10 strength. So feeling pretty good so far, I'm sure, about this.
I think what we're looking for, at least to really getting Edge online, I mean, endgame, Kane's weaponry doesn't really scale that well. I mean, Kane is still a solid character, and I'm sure the runners are hoping for Cecil to replace Kane. You want better offense towards the end game. Kane is still fine. I think looking for more weapons for Edge will certainly get you there, and having Edge also makes it a little bit easier. Well, that's not enough damage to get rid of the skulls, which might cause a wipe, depending if we don't keep at least Edge upright. We might have to get another spread of flame, or the skulls will take care of the whole party, which is not what you want.
Yeah, gonna get the second flame out. The Staleman still hits pretty hard, and so gonna keep the party alive. Didn't even kill off one of them with the second shot, which is just unfortunate here. These have a lot of hit points, and obviously once they start going, they really start going. Ice 2 will crush the Staleman at least, but this is looking pretty problematic. But he's probably gonna get through on just Edge here, which I guess is fine. Like, I think if the intent is to get the item and that's all, it's gonna be fine. Dragus' ride through ordeals, by the way, everybody. I know we've been sort of on the loot here. Was Bahamut in spot 1 got blown up by Edge, Kane, and Fire 2 from the Kid. King and Queen Evelyn, we're not going to see them get all sad and stuff, because Fire 2, Kane, and Edge are going to do a lot of damage. So pretty academic at this point for Dragus, as he's going to probably flop Rose and then head on out of here. Nitzy's going to dart a Slumber Sword to assure the kill, so smart play there. 8,000 experience, but only on Edge, not exactly ideal. And a Moonveil, though. This is a hook route. That's a free out from a possible devastating hook boss, so we'll see if he just decides to take that out of here.
I think that's just kind of some pseudo vanilla, throwing the weapon that you would normally get from that set of enemies. That's not the vanilla you think you'd see, but it's vanilla, kind of.
Sorry,
it's vanilla
everybody.
Jason.
Sorry, everybody. I wished a hook into existence, and so it arrived. That's my fault. You're welcome.
It had to be hook or magma key, and this sea decided, here's your hook. It's fine. It could have been continued overworld access, but the hook is classy. It's straightforward. It tells you, hey, this is about to get difficult. Yeah, but at least we get the free character to see. We can probably want to replace the character to see if it's a Cecil. Probably replace the Kane. Who knows? Depends on who is at that spot. Look, at least judging from nitzy from the loot, I think it's a decent set. So I think pretty ready to take on whatever. Maybe not necessarily whatever's in the hook route, but it certainly should be we're doing some more looting. Okay. Well, I mean, you're here. You might as well finish out, because the loot is good. You might as well clean it out.
Yeah, we'll see if Dragus decides to do some looting here, knowing it is a cold hook route at like level 15, to try and maybe scrape up some more experience and gear. Artemis bow here as well, so the top tier bow, but plus stats for strength and agility, minus casting stats. I mean, it'll let your Rosa truck things, which rules, but it will, nullify her ability to cast healing magic, which does not rule.
I'm good for I'm usually for an Artemis in terms of a decent increase of bounce offense, but not a devastating loss in magic power. I mean, yeah, it's 10 It's 10 to increase for strength, agility, and vitality, and 10 subtracting 10 from wisdom and will. But I think it's a good in between. Like if in terms of giving up the kind of the level of balance in terms of offensive gain versus magical loss. Artemis is I think I'm more balanced than say Heron Robe, and Heron Robe just makes her really strong. So I think the option. I mean, it's better. I think it's a decent trade-off. I don't think it's the trade-off is usually worth it, at least in my view.
Sirens and wine for Dragus, and he's gonna prioritize wine. Not surprising, gonna grab 2 sirens just in case. But he's back to broke. That spent his entire wallet. Nothing he wants here in the armor shop either. So I'm gonna gear up a little bit more here. Also picked up a rune ring. He is avoiding the Castle Eblin, which has just yielded some hot Hanzo steel. Edge is about to put on that Masamune and start flexing.
Yeah. So on this flag set, the back row glitch is enabled, so we don't really need the boomerang. Although I mean, there are some flying bosses, so the few that there are, but they exist, and take advantage of their weakness. So you can keep Edge in the back row after taking advantage of the glitch. So, this won't be the same case in the later brackets. So this, for now, we can be happy that we found a boomerang, take advantage of the glitch, maybe, and not worry about it, at least for at least these series of games.
Yeah, for the runners, or for the people watching who are not familiar with the Final Fantasy IV mechanics, what happens with the back row glitch is that there are weapons that are flagged that let you attack from the back row. And normally when you take one off, you should be no longer flagged to attack from the back row. However, if you equip a back row item that gives you back row and sets the bit, the game never unsets the bit. So you have infinite back row damage basically. So normally being in the back row decreases your physical hit rate and damage by 50%, and you can ignore all of that.
Yeah, it's the glitch everyone likes to use, and this is new. The fix is in this version of Free Enterprise, where we can turn it on and off, and it's certainly very handy when you can take advantage of it. Who doesn't like full? I think the only character that unfortunately doesn't usually benefit unless you try to take advantage of a different glitch, the steel glitch. Yang, unfortunately, doesn't really have a back row claw of any sort. You can steel glitch only one back row weapon, which happens to be the charm heart off of a Lamia, usually found in Cave Eblin, commonly found in Cave Eblin. There's other places, and but unfortunately Yang doesn't. I guess he'll feel normal when the back row glitch is turned off.
Yep. So on the flip side here for Dragus, the box that had the Stalemen in it was just a full moon boomerang. So another throwing weapon, and actually a fairly good one. But otherwise, there was a protect ring down here and a couple of other useful pieces of armor. So our runners are not. The nice thing is that the runners are not getting hosed down on armor. Like, the defensive stats are going to be pretty great. I think I saw a ribbon as well, so a top tier helmet in tier 6 for our runners. So nice gearing out so far for everybody.
Yeah, the loot in Cave Eblin is probably just as good as in Castle Eblin, and there's more of that loot available, just with only one trap chest compared to 3 in Castle Eblin. So there's certainly more loot, and there's also one in the upper tower of Babel, which is the format orders chest. Probably looks like we're probably going to bump into that soon enough if we're going to do more looting. If not, whatever. It's just one more adamant shot. We're looting for more. We're just gotta cheer our inner loot goblin. That's yeah.
I mean, the the big thing you're opening the Mad Ogre chest for here potentially is experience points as well. The chest is worth a decent chunk of experience when your party's at like level 15, 16, 17 like we are right now. The advantage Nitzy has is that Nitzy's got a ton of experience, better edge gear, better armor, because there is a boatload of armor in Castle Eblin. The disadvantage Nitzy has, of course, is Dragus is about to pop the save point here at the end of Upper Babel, and is on his way to the 2 bosses for launching the Falcon, so underground access is going to be coming much quicker if these bosses are doable. First boss is Asura, so counterattacks only here. You can do a lot of setup. She's only got 6,000 hit points. There's a lot of different strategies that you can kind of throw out here. If you got a good dart, you could possibly just do most of the damage in one shot.
I don't, unless we have a spoon, which we don't have, I don't think that's enough on its own. I think we're gonna just attempt life locking. The art of attacking the purple face that does the life one cast, and when she casts life 1, then you just deal damage. Ideally, we want to do we're not even doing that. We're going straight to reflect all her magic. Learning Wall is level 34 on Rosa at the earliest. That's Porm's much further away. But and might as well consume our Star Veils. Probably might have to look for some later, especially if a Wyvern lurks around, and maybe a Golbez. So, Golbez is starting, but we might be too strong when we actually reach into Baron Castle. So, I think we as long as we're doing a decent amount of damage, and hopefully before the wall wears off, we should be in good shape.
Yeah, the big thing here is that Asura only deals damage to the party by counterattack. So you can take all the time you want to set up. The problem here is I know that it looks like there was an intent to bluff up and then cast Virus from Palom here to do a killing shot reflected. But Edge, who had the Star Veils up, died from a melee for his entire health pool again. So that's a big problem because all that setup isn't working out, and if the wall falls down off the boss, even though it does last a while, party's over. She'll heal herself back to full if she hits a Cure 4 here, and then you've got to kind of start over, and that could be just such a rough way to go. But there's a rewall, and now casting the reflected virus here, so going to use a 3rd Star Veil on this fight. 3 of the initial 4 we started with, and just that and the jump and just devastates Asura, and she is off the table. Nitzy, of course, threw Bahamut, and now through King Queen Evelyn without too much of a trouble here. She will remove herself from the battle if not taken out already because of her scripting, but D-Mist is the 2nd boss. Another fight you theoretically cannot lose because you do have infinite setup time, and D-Mist can only kill 3 characters at a time, but if D-Mist is killing characters, it's slow, so we'll see how Dragus decides to set up for this fight.
Looking at the levels, it could be a slog. D-Mist at any spot outside of a few spots, and there's not too many. This is not the spot you want to see D-Mist in, because D-Mist is just tanky. If you have a white spear, you want to swap that immediately out because D-Mist absorbs wholly for when it comes to weapons. It's just resistance, so your attack power is halved. So doing half damage instead of full damage is not. That's what the math says. And there's also intervals after the 3 punches. You just see it. The mist. You can't do any damage. You can't even cast slow like that. That's how the invulnerability phases. So you at least get time to heal, but you can't do any damage. Although once in a while, Blue Moon, you can kind of kill in this phase with HP leak, which through Virus. Virus inflicts HP leak, ticks, dealing 60 points of damage more if the target is slower, less damage dealt if the target is fast.
I think Dragus' plan here, it looks like, is to throw his entire inventory at D-Mist and hope against all hope that D-Mist dies eventually. this spot has a ton of health. I think it's in the 20,000 range. It's over 20 grand. I believe I was used 23, but I could be very wrong about that. So don't hold me to that. But like, holy heck, like just those darts are doing like 3 grand a pop, and we're still not even close to finishing this fight. Scythe Marshal saying it's 25.2k. That is basically infinite damage at this point.
Yeah, usually this spot, if Rubicon is in this vanilla spot, you would ideally have the weaponry to chew through it, because just an ice brand or a blizzard, and you take care of the weakness, and that HP then becomes not so much. But this boss is tanky, has the vulnerability phase, so you can't use berserk. So it's always gonna be a slog for when you fight D-Mist at any high HP, and it punches. So in a punchy spot, D-Mist becomes both tanky and not indestructible, but a pain to take down.
Yeah, but as you can see, when D-Mist turns to Mist, you've got all the time in the world, well, like half a dozen turns to, cast Cure 2, res your party members. If Rosa knows Blink, you can set up Blink. You can do all sorts of really nice stuff here just to basically rebound after everyone, and then set up, burst out a little bit of damage, and then reset, reheal, and it's not that Dragus is in any danger of losing this fight. Like, this fight is going to go for a while, and we're going to keep talking about this fight going for a while, but there's really nothing to worry about at the end of the day.
Yeah, the punches will happen, the healing will happen. It's kind of a fair trade. There are other bosses that are a bit more unfair, maybe like a Pygon with 3 components punching you at the same time, and having instead of one punch every turn, each 3 components has their turn to punch, and that adds up pretty quickly at this spot.
Yeah, this spot, the second fight is thankfully way less scary in physical output. Like, the actual damage from this spot is a lot less painful than the first spot, which, because of how King and Queen Evelyn work in the randomizer, it is absolutely devastating. Lots and lots of damage output from that first boss spot.
The first spot, due to what the King Queen Evelyn spot, they don't punch, so the values set at that spot aren't really balanced. So so anytime that a spot doesn't have a punching component, essentially has overtuned values for that spot. So the Ruby spot, at least it's kind of a set value. You're not worried about it. You know kind of how much damage should be dealt. Whereas the previous spot, which surprise DKC with the Dark Wave attack, can really kind of stress your HP out with multi-hit Dark Wave, and that attack ignores armor values, and so you have to that. So considering where where the boss is at, it's okay. It's not. I mean, this is not the worst spot, not the worst boss at this spot. It's just time consuming, and some more looting. Protecting is always good. And there goes D-Mist.
Yeah, bit of a long fight certainly, but throwing those darts speeds it up a little bit. Hitting Bluff with Palom during downtime speeds it up because it increases his wisdom by 15 a pop, so makes those fires cast really sing. 36 and a half minutes through the door behind and into the pitfall he goes. So Dragus is underground first. Nitzy has done a ton of looting at this point in time, and we'll see if he can how much he can catch up here. Getting underground. If he can get underground under 41 minutes, he's probably in fine shape here, but Dragus is pulling ahead a little bit here. First real gap of the run.
Did not peek who is at the Dr. Luge spot. Usually sometimes if you see what you think is an easier boss at that spot, you just go. Once you get the Falcon, you just go do the tower immediately. I mean, keyless tower is a thing, but we also have the tower key, which at this point you might as well do tower. At least if I were doing this, I would route tower immediately, and then probably follow up with Fey March for the free key item.
Yeah, options certainly abound. Drake is feeling pretty good about his party power and just is going to go ahead and drop a tent at the foot of the tower here and try and get these 2 items out of the way. I'll be interested to see if he decides to crack some boxes searching around the siren boxes in particular here. You can steal sirens from the alerts, but the actual loot drop rate has been nerfed heavily in the last patch because, these only have like 1,400 hit points each. If you can one-shot them, you can get through these boxes in seconds. Not a lot of experience, but 4 loot rolls was just kind of too nice. So that loot has been tuned down.
I mean, when you have a monster that only requires to be punched to, assuming it lives, to do something about it. Yeah, it's kind of like an egg, except more loot. It's more loot than XP. And we see the Baron guards in this spot. Kind of it's already free. It's usually a free spot with an even more free boss. Though sometimes guards in other spots maybe a bit more scary. This spot is pretty low HP. I think combined about a little less than 600. So that means that they have slightly less than 300 HP. And yeah, that's easily more than enough damage can be dealt to them.
Yeah, basically 0. The problem here is that nitzy was doing some setup here and was trying to set up this double Star Veil and reflected a virus and got a jump in before the second one, and the problem was of course that Asura very cheekily decides to sneak in a Cure 4 before the Star Veil goes off. So it's gonna be a little bit of a time loss, but nothing really to worry about here, as he's gonna get through this just fine. I think Rosa still has the Elven Bow equipped because she's shooting for 1,500 a pop. So looking pretty straightforward here, and he's gonna move on to Miss Dragon in a moment for sure.
Yeah, the value from looting or shops. I don't remember where the Elven Bow was acquired. I mean, if you don't have the Elven Bow, spending around 10,000 GP for certainly worth your time. It's easily a damage boost, but also the mage basically making your arrows all mute arrows, effectively mute arrows is a really nice bonus. So yeah, there are a lot of other strangely mage enemies like the Baron guards or the Mad Ogres. Those somehow are mages. I think the Baron guards make more sense because they actually counter with magic through damage or spells. And we see the Calbrenna. This is usually kind of a beefy spot in terms of HP relative to relative to the underground. I mean, this Dr. Luge has 4 different boss components, although there's 2 different battles. So the dolls will be sharing quite a bit of it. But,
doesn't matter. Quake is a good spell.
Yeah, that's too. And I mean, there's the big doll, which usually has the also other chunk of HPs. And hey, one of Kane's ultimate weapons. I mean, I don't think Dragus looted the Holy Sphere, but that's good enough. We've got Defense Sword just good enough, if not better in some instances. Although we can dart it just as well.
But yeah, nothing to be found here so far. We'll see if the Tower Key pays out. Still in the underground, options abound. You've got the Dwarf Castle check, 2 bosses for a character and a key item. There's the 2 bosses in the Land of Summoned Monsters, the Asura and Leviathan Thrones, neither of which are required, but both of which could be packed a key item here. We do not have the Luca key yet, so Sealed Cave is off limits and closed to the public right now. So we're going to see. Dragus probably going to take it to Dwarf Castle here. Stay underground. May go check the freebie at Fey March as well and talk to the Sylphs to get access to Sheila's first item as well.
I think most runners would at least try to defer doing Sife's Cave for if they want the pan to do before doing the bonk. yeah, the worst case is to last location and find Sheila 1 having the darkness crystal with something this like, hey, we're definitely going to Zot, right? Maybe we'll probably we'll at least peek in. Oh no, we're shopping first. I think at some point we're gonna peek in Land of Summon Monsters, see who are the bosses, and pick up a free key item, hoping that it would be some form of progression. That's uh, as I said before. Yeah, you want to get your free key items as soon as possible, because they'll dictate what you are routing next.
Yeah, I mean, now's the time to kind of take a look at this as well. There's not going to be a lot of free bosses down here. We haven't located hourglasses in a shop to, like, lock down a Tri-Guards type situation. We've already seen King Queen Evelyn. We've already seen Water Hag. Double guards are off the table for Dragus. Nitzy doesn't know that yet. So a lot of the bosses that make you go, yeah, I could just go do this right now at the King or Queen spot, not there. These could be some of the nastiest nasties in the game. Could still be Volvalis, Rubicant still in play. We haven't seen any lunar bosses yet, except for D-Lunars. The free box, though, is an adamant armor, and that changes, okay, pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's a good time to power up someone, or at least make someone tanky enough to not worry about their welfare for a long time. That's the gift that Adamant gives. I mean,
it's plus 15 to all stats, plus 200 defense, massive amounts of magic resist and magic evade. All elements are now, you're now strong to all elements. The Adamant armor is really, really kind of broken. It's possibly the most broken armor in RPGs. There's a couple of pieces that will compete with it, but let's be real, it's the business end of the business for pretty much everybody.
Yeah, although its only weakness is really kind of raw magic defense. It's not gonna afford you that. You'll still be taking a lot of damage from virus, let alone nuke or big bang. So but when I mean by tanky, it's really physical tankiness. Ooh.
I apologize for willing Volvalis into existence, everybody. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that, but there she is waiting for us.
I think Leviathan and the Queen spot can actually be more devastating, because the Ice 2s using Azura's spell power is that's a lot more damage. His natural spot does it's all right. It's good, but Azura has a lot more magic power on that spot. So. It looks like Dragus is checking out. I guess do this without Pan. Okay, Panless is, well, I mean, you don't know. It could be just Pan being at Sheila 1. I mean, this just as vanilla as can get, and that vanilla has happened and will continue to happen. So
on the other screen, Nitzy is struggling a little bit with this fight. The White Spear Cane, Demist is interestingly enough weak against Darkness because of the Shadow Sword in the main vanilla game. So he's having a bit of a hard time banging through with that White Spear because of the strength, but is bluffing with Palom, and viruses are coming out post-haste here. It's got 2 casts of it left, so we'll see how that ends up going here. This should hit for around, what, 3 grand, I'm hoping? Yeah, 3,500. Very nice. That's going to be a kill. So he's through at like 46 minutes, so about 4.5 minutes off the pace right now.
I've seen underground hook routes being like at the hour mark. This isn't too bad. From times it might look like it sees behind, but checks in the order that you can save huge swaths of time. So we don't know what choices are going to be made. Maybe Nitzy stumbles upon the darkness crystal, gets in the moon first. Where a lot of the key items may be lurking. So it's not too early, but hey, there it is, darkness crystal, Sheila 1. Probably worth skip even Dwarf Castle for the character check and the key item just to do Moon. At this point there aren't too many other options on the table for Dragus.
I mean, one of the options is hard required Zot, though. There's no world in which I think he skips that now. Adamant Armor Kane is probably just going to slice dice and chop his way through whatever is in the way at this point in time. Going to flip over to the Defense Sword over the White Spear to get that better accuracy. The two weapons are basically equal. There's like a diagram, and one is slightly better than the other, but like they're both excellent weapons. So he's going to slide on one, and he's going to go straight to that Earth Crystal. Nitzy has decided to park it at the tower, so about 4.5 minutes of looting behind, but otherwise is feeling pretty good. Does not have any arrows on hand though. He's run out of rounds for the old cannon here, so gonna have to switch gears for Rosa for the moment before he heads into the tower. Drake's about to loot that treasure. You know what time it is.
Rate that treasury. Doom doom. Oh well.
We'll work on the delivery. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You got there.
Yeah, I think the clip is from Earthbound, which it's something. It is. I don't even remember what the original saying was on that theme. It's just. It's. I don't. It. Or was that custom? I know I think the music was from Earthbound, but other than that, I don't know enough. I don't remember. It's all forgotten every other seed. I think that treasury was kind of disappointing.
It had a tiara and a lightsaber for the Cecil we don't have that Dragus will probably dart in 5 minutes. No ninja swords, no cold beers, nothing you could ever want there. So no Bacchus wine, no heavy armor. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Like there was nothing that made me want to like cut in and say, hey, look, that's real exciting. You can't get tier 8 items in non-encounter chests, so there was no chance it was going to be an adamant armor, which of course is unfortunate here. And it looks like Nitzy has decided it's time to keep looting while he be scooting here, as he's going to cast stop on these alerts so they don't summon, and then take them down with 2 melee attacks. So Nitzy wants more rolls at these encounter chests at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have the adamant, you're probably going to kind of dig a little bit. I can understand that. Because adamant will certainly make things a little bit easier. Well, usually a lot easier. At least make things more smooth. And for a Bahamut for a riot that has not shown up yet. I think there was 7 characters. I think we've only seen 5, and we haven't seen the dupe yet. I think that's the case right at the moment. So,
So on these flags in particular, every character is in the pool. So with no free characters, every character will show up once, and there will be 1 duplicate in the pool. Second curse ring for Nitzy as well. What the heck? So just because if we haven't seen a dupe yet, any character is still at any spot until a duplicate's been located, and then there are only going to be 1 each of the characters. Otherwise, Dragus is just pushing at this point in time. So he's located Mylan Z, and he is trying to roll through this spot here in Tower of Zot. Nitzy's on box number 3 here in the Tower of Babel. Still looking for something another Zeus Gauntlet. So maybe that what he wants?
I think we've picked up a reasonable amount of Zeus Gauntlets. So yeah, that's 2. We have only 2 characters. Wait, I think we have 2, right? Probably already 1 on Kane. So we got the maximum amount of characters that can equip it at this moment. I think from a looting perspective, or at least from a character building construction, I mean, you get what you get, but I think if you have like 2 mages, 2 fighters, you'll have a reasonably balanced chance at pretty much anything you see when there's kind of an imbalance. I think hopefully it's more berserkers on your side, and hopefully a healer. I think it gets interesting when you have a lot more mages on your team, where your construction kind of matters, especially for certain boss points. And characters that probably will reject both. Might keep 1, maybe a Sid. We don't know. Probably pick neither. I don't like neither character. Rex kind of interests me at all. What do you think?
Can they equip an Excalibur?
No. So
do they know every spell in the game?
They can get Soma drops.
So no. I hear no. You're saying no. Yeah, no need to take either of those characters. They're both pretty bad at this juncture. Yang would need a ton of levels, and Sid is nice if you need a hit point sync, but we kind of got Kane already for that. Because with a Curse Ring, you can take Sid up into like the 50s in levels, and then slap a Curse Ring on him, and he can still anchor the Z fight.
Yeah, look, I mean, Sid, certainly valuable. I would call at this point. I think this character combination is probably final if you can, unless you can find a Cecil to replace Kane. There's kind of no reason to change this group at this point. In fact, I don't think this is even there unless we stumble upon a food. Then that math might change. Maybe replace Palom or Kane, I guess. But yeah, we're almost like if we had this group, I think we're set to keep them for the rest of this journey. I mean,
yeah, it seems like a fine party for sure to take on the road. Kamil.Don't have to asking, what does the Curse Ring do again? Well, it's minus 15 to all stats, and the big thing is that since it reduces your agility by 15, all agility in this game is relative, and if you want to know more of the dark magic that is agility in this game, go ahead and check out the Discord where we've got treatises on how this works. But basically, by slapping it on a character and greatly reducing their agility, all your other characters are able to move at the same speed as the boss. So if it's a very fast boss, it's irrelevant because all of a sudden everyone's moving at the same speed other than the center character.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting decision to say. We have the normal behavior is that Cecil is your anchor. I think there's like a few fights where that is not the case. I think Solo Edward for Water Hack fight is the one that comes to mind. But yeah, Cecil's usually your anchor in Free Enterprise. Cecil can be your anchor, like if you want to set the vanilla flag for that. But it's usually the character usually in the middle slot or the one closest to the middle slot. So there's a slot priority. So middle, top, bottom most, top middle, and bottom middle. So that's the order, and so that's usually the order the game would go in terms of the ATB if on a preemptive strike, assuming all characters have the same agility, which is usually not the case.
Yep, so on our right screen, Nitzy has finished the tower, going to take out those two guards real quick, and is running down with his defense sword, and about to get a party rock, so Earth Crystal will be in hand momentarily. So he's finished 2 objectives. Dragus is Earth Crystal dip, double Mylan, and double Mylan ended up paying him out with the Baron Key, so now he's here fighting against Golbez. Did you know that you cannot target Golbez at all until he's gone through his entire script and has unsummoned the Shadow Dragon, and that is the flag that makes him damageable. So all of these swings with Kane, who is berserked, this is all pure sweet time loss, baby. This is just time you're throwing away.
Yeah, I mean, the vanilla things you try to hopelessly damage him, but don't. So yeah, they have kind of for Free Enterprise, what is done is that the Shadow Dragon tries to remove up to 3 characters as long as 2 are remaining, and then essentially he removes the paralysis and that battle starts. Given that the 2 characters, I think, was probably with the crystal ring in hand, I think one with the adamant. So both characters are immune to the effects of paralysis and should, well, not guaranteed that they won't die, because that doesn't give them death immunity. Only the adamant will, and the ribbon would give death immunity. So while Kane is kind of flailing away, wasting time, but
now he's done. He's done flailing because the Shadow Dragon's gone, and so now that first swing immediately does 2,000 damage, and this other swing is going to do 2,000 damage, and the fight is going to just wrap up real fast. So that little bit of time loss for clean setup from Rosa, probably not a big deal here, honestly, all things considered, is, yeah, that's going to sting and hurt a lot.
Well, why did Kane keep swinging at me? I don't know. Well, he disappears, and we can move on. I don't think we're going to do the Odin check. Probably do that check immediately after liberating Baron. Let's see who's on the throne. Oh, Squid. Yes, with even more tentacles.
Yeah, I mean, Kane's got that adamant armor already, so like you can kind of see if hitting for 1,200, like Palin being dead isn't the end of the world here. You're not losing a ton of experience, but it's going to bring him back up anyway, just to make sure he gets, continued experience gain here. He doesn't want him lagging behind too far, which, is always an intriguing decision. Pays a tiny, it's the tiniest thought process here. On the flip here, you've got Nitzy, who's in the Tower of Mylan here, using the White Spear on Mylan Z. Casting Fire Magic, because he's weak against that. Direct Cure Magic also does damage. 9,000 hit points at the spot that he's going to tear through pretty fast, even without that Adamant Armor.
Yep. A lot of Adamant Armor speedsters things. Oh, there. Well, the Zoradia will not take into the party. That's certainly not happening. Yep. Thanks for your service, Radia. Go to the tower. Fortunately, in this flag set, anyone that we do not pick up with us goes to the tower, so we can swap a character out as needed. They do not go away permanently. Just have a nice hideout to talk about why they're not in the current party. I guess could be worse.
I mean, I think the big thing here is, again, it's an opportunity cost for taking the time to switch characters, certainly, which is always a big deal. Liberating Baron Castle, objective 2 on the board for Dragus now, as he is going to obtain a piece of silverware out of the trash bin in Baron, and decides that, hey, those 2 bosses in the Land of Summon Monsters are not for me. Dwarf Castle, also not for me. Time to launch the whale. Let's head on up. We're about an hour in. We're going to the moon, everybody.
Yeah, moon bosses, yay! We'll see. It was a good thought to try to do that, like the hairdryer chest, if you want to go and get another decent shot at Adamant Armor. I don't know the exact details of but usually the harder the more difficult the spot is, the more likely you're gonna get chances at a tier 8 item, and Adamant happened to be one of them. Of one of 3 tier 8 items, which just happened to be one, obviously the Adamant. There's the Crystal Sword, Cecil's #1 form of Burr, and the Excalibur, again, another weapon for Cecil. Also a great dart. The crystal not throwable because reasons. It's magic.
It's just code. Which I guess is magic because, science, magic, and all that. But yeah, Dragus is headed up about an hour in. No surprise there. Nitzy's on regular Mylan here. This spot has immense magic power, but immense magic power behind lit ones just doesn't matter. So he's going to go ahead and rip through this. I don't see Dragus opening a ton of boxes here. I don't see him doing hair dryers at this point. He's already got the Adamant Armor from Feymarch in hand. Right? He's got one. He's good. He's feeling great. I mean, Adamant Armor makes me feel great because, then I know my characters can't die. Or at least makes it really hard for them to die. Hourglass 2's here if he does decide to do a little bit of moon grinding off of boxes or random encounters. We'll see maybe he's got those 2 sirens that he'll put to good use as well. To turn into experience points. Nitzy's going to pick up that key to Baron, and of course, this lands you right in front of Baron, so I suspect that Nitzy's not going to go terribly far here. And by not terribly far, I mean save the game and move directly into Baron.
Yeah, it's nice when the key item is that you land a spot where the key item matches up with the location you end up in. And this has happened. I mean, just kind of like getting the tower key in the tower. That just as well could happen. So yeah, it's nice when the key items fall into your lap in the right and greatest of times, until it doesn't. So yeah, looks like I'm thinking we're doing the immediate dive. It doesn't look like I don't think we're going to. Oh no, we're at Cave Value. Okay, we'll just peek the boss and see if we want to take that on. It's good opportunity. And a little bit of looting, although at this point, looting might... I mean, I'm not sure do we have enough equipment. I think we're kind of like an hour in. I think we've probably done a lot of looting.
I mean, every player has a different idea on what they want to grab and where. These boxes are slightly better because they're on the moon, but these are the unexciting boxes. You have to go for the the great risk reward of the major moon boxes if you really want to make the magic happen in LST. Completely free boss here if you could get off the hourglass, because Dragus has hourglasses, but it is dark imps here in Bahamut Cave, so he's gonna go ahead and crack that. If he decides to pop sirens here, this is one of the 2 places you get double king Ryus, so double gold dragons, which is worth normally they're worth 30,000 experience apiece. If you life glitch them, you would get 90,000, and if you have 10 key items, you'll get 180,000. But it looks like, yeah, he's gonna go with the hourglass into coffin into life potion strategy here. Except, well, Paladin's never getting his life potion off because he dead.
Yeah, I think you for the King Ryu grind though, I think you can't do it on the base level. You have to get in at least 1 level deep, or the deepest level. Don't the King. I don't even know what the formation is on the first floor of this of K value. It just is, but it's definitely not. It's not dual King Ryu, so you need to dig just 1 floor. Should be good. Yeah, that life glitch is enabled in the flag set. So what that is assuming the monster does not have the boss pit, and usually there's some number of bosses that use regular enemies. Anyways, you just when you kill them, you try to queue up a life potion to target the dead enemy spot, and when it does, it kind of revives them, but not though. One of the things about the life potion is that it relies on vitality, and since monsters do not have any vitality, 0 times whatever formula is still 0. So they get revived, but they also count as dead immediately as soon as they revive, which is 1 more. So it's counted as 1 more monster dead, and that factors into XP, money, and whatever's in the drop table at the time. So yeah, it's very popular thing when you're grinding to kill the monster, try to revive it, and you have to have at least 2 monsters on the field to do it.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, fight ends when there's no monsters left. Nitzy is here in Baron Castle now, wrapping it up. Gonna fight the squid here, doing about 1,500 damage in attack, so feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty invincible, I'm sure, even without the adamant armor. Both runners have not done either of the bosses in the Fey March. Both runners have skipped the Baron Castle, Baron Throne. So the basement throne is still on the table for both runners. Nitzy still needs to go pick up that adamant armor from the free chest in Fey March, and Sheila 1, of course, has the black rock for our runners' use and travel to the moon. The moon character for Dragus was Tella, who wants to be a sage, I guess. Wrong sage, but hey, that's the life we're living here.
It's not a mop up duty, so no. I think we're gonna get a grind for just doing every boss in the lunar subterranean to get the key items that we need. So we're looking really just for Rat Tail, and the Twin Harp. So this is not So once we get those at least 2 key items, or at least enough key items that gate something else. There's still not too many left. Maybe the pan is certainly think that will probably gate account of the key item. So as long as we get at least 2 key items, maybe not the Legend Sword, we're probably not going to spend the time to trade them in for an Excal. So yeah, so 2 major key items, and we should unlock the rest of the seed, and that's what our runners are looking for.
Yeah, I think the difficult thing at this point in time, of course, is that Nitzy's going to be later to getting that adamant armor, and a lot of the time it's the person who gets the power first is generally in the driver's seat. So Dragus is basically using that to sort of fuel a big push here. You can see the adamant armor doing work as the spells from the elements Rubicant, while they hurt like an unbelievable amount on Kane, the first 2 are going to hit for 1. Glare will still get through, but may not kill anyways, so hopefully he can push through this phase before the fight is over. One of the aspects of adamant armor
Is elemental immunity, and it also comes with the resistance to fire, lightning, and ice. So any elemental damage dealt to a character with the immune bit will deal 1 damage. Unfortunately, that doesn't apply to Glass Helmet, even though that has the immune bit. It has to be on the same piece of equipment that contains the immune bit. Also additional side effect of the immune bit is having 99% evade, so no matter how much other heavy armor you equipped, you have max evade. So your defense multiplier, however many you've accumulated, is a factor, and you're probably not going to take damage from it. Although this phase shouldn't end too quickly. Kane will do his thing, because Kane won't die. I think. Yeah, there she goes. We'll see what that is. Oh yes, a free pass. So we're not coming back here once this is all done, which is good because no one wants to come back here. The journey is time consuming, and no runner wants to be back the place to find to do everything. So in most instances, we're probably gonna do almost a full clear, if not a full clear, of the lunar subterranean.
Yeah, the big thing with the pass is the pass actually sort of pushes you away from gambling on the moon. Like, it pushes you away from the idea of, well, if I get the pan, do I just want to take the pan back? It's like, well, I got the pass, let me go ahead and just mop this place up for the experience points. Whereas if you're feeling behind or feeling like the need to make a play, you'd like leave a save in the lunar subterranean and bring the pan home and check and see if it's got the business for you. It isn't 2 checks, so like the pass dissuades people from doing that, because then you go, well, I don't want to have to come to the moon a second time. And so, you know, that decision sort of gets made for a lot of runners when they see that early pass.
Yeah. I mean, there are people who just don't like doing the moon. It's just the moon.
I want to say those people are bad and wrong, and I'm not judging them, but man, I love the moon a lot. I'm sorry.
I like the challenge of the moon. I don't. It doesn't scare me. It's not. I mean, you can roll seeds. In this tournament, we won't have that. But like, where you can just go, like you can avoid the underground and go directly to the moon, and those seeds can be interesting. And considering that it only takes one boss fight which is free. Then you're kind of in the driver's seat. You should just find the right one, and sometimes, as long as you find that one, it can make the trek easier. So probably with a couple, like say some fights along the way, usually some trap chests, or maybe even doing some of the kind of like the spots in Cave Valley where the behemoths are spotted. You just turn off encounters. They have designated spots for each of the behemoths, and just do a grind there. Though those fights can be scary initially. But early moon can be kind of a scary proposition for less experienced runners.
I mean, speaking of tough moments here, certainly nitzy has decided it's time to try to take on Volvolus, and her power is overwhelming in that spot. Her melee strength is pretty darn good at the Leviathan spot, one of the highest physical hitting spots in the game. It doesn't help that she also applies weak every other turn, so locking you out of basically being healed up enough to even consider taking a hit in the first place. Blink is sort of your only recourse in that point, and so instead he gets a little bit brave at a different angle and decides to head on over to the Sea Serpent instead, sitting in the Asura spot, takes the way for 25%. Gonna pop a wine, gonna pop a second wine. Both our runners bought 12 packs at least, like they both got tons of wine. Kane in the front row with the Adamant armor. Edge doing really nice damage from the back though. This fight actually gonna look pretty good on his part. Dragus on the flip has Yang at the ribbon altar, which is a high health spot. Hitting pretty hard. Again, Kane's Adamant armor, though, the amount of defense it gives 100 defense and 30% physical evade. Basically means kick never hits, and physical hits will hit for 1. So even if he's not worried about getting experience and everybody else, because, Fallon's real dead, too. Rest of the party down, but Zerk Kane's going to get through this fight for free.
Yeah, Zerk Kane will solve everything. I think when it's fine. Of all things Adamant armor doesn't protect against, Berserk is one of them, and that's a good thing. it's crystal armor that protects against Berserk, and we don't like that. Usually, money for most people. Although the Avenger will bypass that resistance, so you can use a crystal armor with Avenger. And that's always a good thing.
Nitzy's big first deviation here is clearing out Leviathan from the Asura spot and finding just another piece of Hanzo Steel. Finds a Murasame for all of that trouble, so not really worth it, and is going to skip out on Volvolus as well, so he's leaving. Bailing out, taking his one kill, and probably going to go and keep moving and grooving. Probably going to check the freebie for Sheila 1. Dragus is here at the White Spear altar. I heard Quake is still a good spell as long as the kid survives.
With that time spent taking a nap, I don't think Palom is going to be as helpful. We get the Quake, we got the Quake off, but I think long term, Kain is the one who's probably just gonna kind of just do it all by himself, but that in itself will take time. He has to attack the middle sister because she revives both Sandy and Mindy. Sandy being the tall one who casts white magic, and Mindy the shortest one who casts all the damage magic. So this could just end up being Kain doing his thing, and I don't think we've found a mute knife, which would make Edge far more devastating. But he's not. We haven't found one, so he'll still do some. He'll still help, but.
So the big thing is it's still 3,000 damage per target, which is pretty fantastic. Like, you have to kind of understand that, any sort of help that you can get from there is great. Like, yes, Berserking is going to be better in the long run, but right now you take what you can get. Dark Knight Cecil is making some quick work of the kid here, but everyone else survives. So going to be pretty easy peasy. We know that the second boss here from doing Tower of Zot is going to be Dr. Luggage. So another pretty free boss in those spots. All three parts are going to have like 700 hit points, which is great. Dragus, of course, experienced the wall running out on Cindy, but she's going to revive her sisters. They do revive at full health, but then she's going to get dropped just a hair late. Quick, still a good spell. Going to do probably again. Still 3,000 damage to each of the sisters, so it's going to help a lot. Nitzy, of course, giving us a look at Dwarf Castle that Dragus decided to fade for the moon, so we'll see how this ends up playing out once he gets through this slightly long but not hard boss.
Yeah, surprise DKC at Dwarf 1. That's also a pretty punchy spot. With a little Dr. Legate, not that hard. I think still will consume time, but rewarded with a Foo. But we don't want a Foo.
Immediately kicks Foo to the curb, which is an interesting call. You have a Palom at 121 health. Who still needs levels to get nuke, while if you take Foo there, Foo's got the big bang already in hand. He can drop the microwave on anybody he wants, so it's a real interesting call.
I think I would have just traded out Palom immediately. Like, we don't with even if you're doing a middling grind, Palom, at least for a number of Cs I run, it's not he won't get up to nuke unless you do like a D machine grind. That's not something you'd want to strongly consider. Like, you kind of want the firepower now, and Foo is that gateway to that. I don't. But that's a choice made. Quake Kid is still valuable. I think the instant power now will actually even lead towards the end game. A lot longer than Palom, which we might not even get to nuke with.
Everyone's got their reason for doing the things that they do, so you kind of respect that decision here. He's going to just get Artemis arrows for his trouble, so basically gets a whole lot of zero from up here at Dwarf Castle, and is back on the hunt for the Darkness Crystal. We know where it is, of course, the booth, the eyes in the sky. We can see everything and then a little bit more. But Dragus is now down here at the bottom, trying to take out Evil Wall at the Ogopogo spot, while Nitzy is flying up to Sheila 1, who we know is going to hand him the business end of the business so he can get off this earth.
Yeah, Evil Wall at this spot, Logo spot is fairly fast, and really punchy. So it's not as punchy as one of the strongest spots, but it's strong as of all the boss spots in the lunar in on the moon. I believe maybe not compared to Bahamut's spot. I think because Bahamut doesn't punch normally. So, but Ogo does. So, and every single time any sort of magic is cast on Evil Wall, you get a counter Petrify, which not the scary part. I think the punching is the scary part. But even then, with Kane having the adamant, when Evil Wall gets into his crush phase, Kane will survive it cleanly because adamant armor protects against any real harmful statuses outside of count. Count is a separate status that doesn't even follow into one of the resistances. So yeah, even if everyone else dies, Kane will still be around to reap the rewards of the kill.
Yeah, I mean, having that sense and knowing that a fight cannot be lost is always very important, right? It's just a matter of, do you want to take the time to do it, even though you cannot lose? Again, the opportunity cost is time. Is it going to be fast? That was fast. Like, that was blisteringly fast for a Evil Wall. Only going to get a white spear, but I guess the reward that we're getting from a lot of these spots on the moon, of course, is experience. The tough thing is, of course, Dragus now has 10 key items, so if he decides to pop a couple sirens, he's going to get the full reward of, experience, the doubled experience bonus from those. Nitzy, continuing to deviate, has decided that going to the moon is not in the cards just yet, with Baron Castle Basement Throne on the table. Lunar Spark here at BCBT is going to be Plague, which is probably the easiest of the bosses. Count is here, which of course leaves the 10-second instant death on you. But if you have a Kamikaze, you can instantly kill one of your characters, or have like Palom cast Virus on them, or use a Coffin. Good options here. And then if you cast Life, Plague sees that somebody doesn't have a counter on them and decides to recast the counter, which gives you basically as much time as you need to kill Plague, who does 0 damage otherwise.
Yeah, Plague is really just really the kind of the speed run enforcer, outside of trying to manipulate count. Sometimes you want to go with use Star Veil, or try to get Star Veil in some way, and then with a character without count, and once that happens, it will continually casting count, because its particular check is, does everyone have count? If not, apply count on everyone. It's as simple as that. So while I think Rosa is gonna take a nap, she does. It follows that Plague goes down. Plague is fragile, but wants you to quickly decide how to kill it. And that at least is a decent reward. The Avenger can't say none of that.
I mean, Holy Sword Avenger is just fine. Again, we're talking about giving Berserk to your Kane. The interesting thing is, on the moon so far, we found the package and the Adamant Rock. Usually 2 to 3 key items is what you can kind of bank on from the moon, and all that we have left right now is the Crystal Sword Altar. If it's not at the Crystal Sword Altar, then the entire game basically is running through that Volvolus in the underground, which is always just funny to me.
Yeah, when you see Val, at least at the King spot, you can kind of gamble on the Queen spot because it's at least balanced and less punchy. Given what you see, given what is there, most runners, at least if you look at it, like, we'll defer. We're gonna probably visit the moon first and then come back down and clean this up. Which is a common thing. If the fight isn't reasonable or at least trivial with easier bosses, you want to, which this is a common thing, just not last location, but defer. This is because fighting those bosses at the levels you'd be at normally is not sufficient. The bosses, due to the randomization, the bosses can be not something you can just take on without spending a lot of time in preparation. And you probably want to spend that time, just take the grind and then make those decisions when you come back. It's easier to make up that time.
On what we have right now, though, the big thing is that Dragus has got an adamant armor in hand, so he can do basically whatever he wants. Which is always nice. He ended up popping those 2 sirens for the 360,000 experience. Not much of a shock there. Party now pushing out to level 50. that doesn't surprise anybody at this point, really. Is that his last spot? Scythe Marshal did correct me. There was also a Pigtail and a Pass up here. So, like, we had all the business up here, but none of those items really give us progress. So we'll certainly see if this is our Harp or our Luca Key or our Pan, which would be potential progress, or if, again, we've got to go down and say hi to Valvolus and, you know, I guess with a level 50 party, you know, obliterate her in single combat because she's going to die pretty horribly.
This is another, I would call it, tanky spot. At least time consuming, even if the damage is consistent, low. You know, you're not worried about dying from this spot unless you want to kill both the attacker and defender and hope the globe doesn't make you take a nap. Yeah, this spot takes a bit of time to kind of like D-Mist takes a lot of time to go against, and ideally if you still have any some key items left, maybe throw a spoon, because you know, this is a good time to throw the spoon. No one trying to essentially DPS down the CPU is a bit. It's just time consuming because you're fighting against the back row, so some of the damage is lost unless you use the glitch. Although at least in this flag set, we can take advantage of the glitch. That's the least of the problem, but it's just a lot of damage you have to deal to the CPU to make it go down.
The big thing is that it's not a safe fight to Berserk on, because if you kill both front orbs, what happens is that the CPU fires off Globe 199. However, it is a magic attack, and in this spot, it can be survived. It's actually a thing that you can do, and it ends up being pretty alright. Also, once you farm the front orbs for experience points, they're worth something at least. But yeah, throwing the darts out just decided it's time to just get this fight over as fast as possible. Nitzy is deciding to get his experience first, basically try to give himself a little bit of buffer for the moon here. But the big thing is that earlier Adamant Armor is just sort of let Dragus sort of slowly stretch his advantage out here. Dragus is through 6 bosses on the moon already, so moon full cleared, while Nitzy is still grinding for experience points before deciding to go deeper here into Cave Bahamut. I don't think Nitzy dipped into the Hummingway shop either to grab the hourglasses. Crystal Sword Altar, of course, always provides because I'm here. I willed that into existence, don't mind me. Pan is there, the big business item. The last spot you checked, but Dragus is going to bail out now. He's done with the moon at 124. So about a 24-minute moon with 360,000 experience worth of grind, so a very solid moon for sure.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, right now, I mean, we're definitely Z ready. Although I think we'll try. I think as completing Babel, we'll definitely get the 2 levels needed. I mean, Assault flashing that Palom just learned Meteor, so it's just 2 levels away, and the experience that just completing the giant should be more than enough to get to nuke. So that's at least great news, and I guess we're going directly to giant. Worry about the Pan later, because that's gonna likely unlock Twin Harp, if not get to at least the next key item adjacent. I think outside of, unless it's behind the Leviathan spot with Val on it.
The nice thing for Nitzy is that even without hourglasses, he's not really having a severe problem here, because he's going to sort of work his way through these fights. The imps, of course, are not going to be a problem. It ends up just dropping some coffins and a couple life potions too. Going to obtain his adamant rock here, and then going to probably cast exit and head on over to the lunar subterrane, where bosses abound, certainly.
Yeah, if Nitzy takes a top-down approach, he might get, but that should. I think the pass was also on the Murazami spot. I think so. And the Pan on Wyvern is all. I think is all that's actually required for this dive. But most likely what's going to happen is probably full clean, because might as well get the XP to fight Z with. Moon dive is kind of its own grind.
We're also at like the right amount of key items for just dipping into the moon, which is to say we still need 2 key items to finish. You still need a rat tail, and you still need a harp to finish the seed. So like, there's no big deal. Oh my god, what is that turtle doing here at? Oh boy. So you know that adamant armor? You know what that does against percentage health damage attacks from a spot that has 61,000 hit points? That's right, absolutely, positively nothing. 0, zip, nil, zilch, nada. Oh god, even ripping off that 10,000 point spoon, party's over, everybody. Let's go home.
Well, that's a time for a reset. Yeah. So yeah, when you see the turtle, you know it's time to rethink. Might have first of all, the first thing what needs to be thought of is just reshuffle the agility anchor. I don't think Kane is the ideal anchor, and we don't remember if Dragus has picked up a cursed ring. I know Nitzy has picked up at least one.
So he's gonna leverage the fact that Palom's base agility is pretty low, all things considered, removing all of that agility gear. He does not have a cursed ring, however, but he's gonna crystal ring Rosa and make sure that her agility is as high as possible, and make sure that Palom's is as low as possible to make sure you can kind of stretch it out. The adamant armor on Kane makes this very doable, because Kane will still be going at a decent clip, but you have to like pre-queue your lightning effects because yeah, that first wave, as you all saw, even with a spoon dart from Edge, hit for 2k a character plus. Like, that's frightening damage. That's silly damage.
Yep. Well, I mean, when you can do 9,000 quad nines at will with one particular dart, yeah, but that's still what you're cutting down about 200 points of damage, which by even 200, it's still not enough. And yeah, that lightning didn't go off, so yeah, I'm gonna retry. If I think we want to probably be safer just to keep using, at least try to time the lightning first, get a whole and try to get full set of damage before the wave comes back, and then see if you can take on it at least that much. Otherwise, it's just gonna be, you're gonna have a bad time.
Well,
just need to get the first one. Just neutralize the first one.
The big thing with the setup here is that you don't get a lot of time, and you need to basically hit the item when it says gathering the water, or slightly before. Like right now is the time. He's got 2 Zeus Rages and a Thor Rage. He's got 3 lightning items, so he should be in fantastic shape, at least for getting through the opening part of the fight. Right now you have Kane hitting for 5k, which is really kind of where you want to be, and if this Thor Rage gets off okay, he should get around to throw a dart with Edge and have a couple of Kane swings in and taking out about half the health of this spot. So that'll actually make this a lot more palatable.
Yeah, it's just about just dealing as much damage, and Kane, he's doing fine. I think we should be good. Just might help to slow him down a little bit, but I think the DPS though, that should be more than enough. So we should be certainly able to take face tank a wave. Not usually the thing you want to do. Maybe Palom might go down, but everyone else should be fine otherwise, and we're not dependent on Palom to cast magic. So even that lightning goes off, the wave can still go off because timing happens. Well, we'll see.
Yep. The lightning though takes off 10,000 damage here, and it looks like he might have actually supplanted that wave. So this is pretty much looking really good. I mean, he's still throwing the kitchen sink at this fight for safety. The wave going off here is probably going to be much less relevant. Yeah, 1,000 damage is. It's still a lot, but it's not like, oh god, my party is all dead, and my Kane in the adamant armor is just going to die to the second wave type deal.
Yeah, this spot is very tanky. So the this is full 65,000, maybe I'm not 65,000 HP, and that's based since it's HP based, just 1/20th. It's still a lot of that's a lot of HP to go through. So you have to do a lot of damage to reduce the amount of damage taken. It's reciprocal. So, and it's even though the fraction is significant, it's still a lot of HP to chew through and a lot of damage to take. And that remedy, unfortunately, is 1/10 of his max HP, which is why that heal was a lot. It was significant. So,
yeah. That's why he's also still letting it rip with darts here. But the Kane swings are more than enough, honestly, to get through here. So, end of the day, the turtle is down. A couple tries, but nothing so out of the ordinary as to really feel bad. It's a tough spot, but Drake is showing some real expertise on the setup and getting through there. Nitzy on the flip, of course, is down here in the lunar subterrane. He's found Kane. He's found Yang at the ribbon altar. And the big thing is that Nitzy had a little bit more health and levels in his back pocket before starting to do these spots. So he's not having a severe problem with these. Like, he's going to get experience on everybody, which will kind of counterbalance the earlier half of the grind compared to what Dragus ended up doing. He's going to cabin back up and keep clearing the moon here. Doing a standard Bahamut into bottom up clear. It looks like skip Masamune altar, no pass in hand. which of course is always interesting. There's no real difference in top down, bottom up when you're looking for a ton of key items, so I don't think it's really a concern of the order in which you do it. We're not on Big Moon gamble mode yet. It's not like you have to get one key item off the moon. Oh god, where do I go to get it? But it's kind of how it goes. Dragus is popping some more bottles here. I think he's out of wine now, but man, Ogopogo hits hard in this spot. This is another spot with massive physical damage, but not enough health to really carry it through. So Berserk Edge and Berserk Cane should be more than enough to get him through this fight.
Yeah, it's the matter of punch harder. Using magic on Ogopogo doesn't work. That's an interesting decision. Okay, to stop Palom. I guess
stopping Palom is vanilla tech. It takes that character out of the queue, so he doesn't have to worry about seeing it pop up. Makes your Berserkers berserk harder and faster. But yeah, gets to the fight. 300,000 experience would have been nice on Rosa, but she's already at 2300 health. She's in great shape. Giant done, pan in hand. One check to do, plus we know that Dragus has a lot of the moon to go here. Or a lot of the earth to go. Still has Dwarf Castle, still has both bosses in the subterranean. Here's our dupe character. It's a dupe Palom. So Dragus has a lot to do still, which is a little scary at this point, considering that you only got the pan from the moon, but we know that the pan's got everything behind it, unless it's at Volvalis.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. I think the smart thing to do is just to to do the pan, just finish the pan, and then see what comes out of it. Unless there's nothing really to route in. Outside of since not doing the dwarf check might actually happen at the same time, so we'll see what happens. But I think turning in the pan would probably be the first thing on, because it's a free key item check. Just write that off. Well, 2 key item checks, one hitting Yang on the head, and Sheila 2, just getting returning the pan back to Sheila. So this is, and you're hoping that you don't have to look for another key item. I mean, there's still one key item that will still possibly link to something, and that would be the Luka key. So that means a sealed cave check. So that is a worst case scenario. But this is guaranteed that we are gonna definitely move forward. If outside of, we still have to check the fight in this spot, which I guess is still at the back of our minds. At least for Dragus,
the big thing is that all the parts could also just chain together here, which would be fantastic. Nitzy's actually making great time up here on the moon, by the way. Like, this is a rat tail is, by the way, required, so you're gonna probably check that with Sheila too. But yeah, no, Nitzy's making some great time here on the moon. Like, his fights have been real clean. It's not to say that his execution's been bad. It's just like 4 minutes more looting in the early game, and then sort of stretched out by that earlier adamant armor for Dragus. And Dragus has just been a little bit tighter. But, you know, it starts to really sort of stretch out, and so that's kind of why we're seeing the sort of differential. But, like, Nitzy's kind of showing you, this is a great way to clear the moon, how he's doing it. And, like, if you're looking for a way to clear the moon and you need that moon practice, this is a good seed from both these runners to take a look at how they did it.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Nitzy did a mini grind, a little more with more looting. Yeah, this flag set is all for the looting, and Legend Sword not what we want, but that's fine. We needed to see if that was the harp, so it's, you know, check. Time has to be spent. That's fine. We're already really close to trading in their tails, for at least the pink tail for the adamant. So, you know, who can say no to a second adamant? With and with Nitzy, I think just letting Kane and Edge do the work. I don't think a mutant knife was picked up, so relying on Quake Kid to do the work, because anytime a target has reflex status, Quake doesn't care unless the target's flying, and there's not too many bosses that are flying. Both having to be Mylon Z and Plague. So yeah, that's at least quick fights, and quickly go to the crystal sword altar for final fight. That shouldn't be too long. Sorry.
So Rat Tail does not have the business, by the way. Doles out a Legend Sword, so Dragus is still not in Go mode yet. Again, we know where it's at. Like we know where the party is, which is to state that it's behind Volvalis, which is unsurprising because I willed that into existence. I'm so sorry. Dragus is gonna go get a couple more bottles because he's got a party to go to with Zeromus eventually. Like he's like, can I get 3 cases of your finest wine? Pour him or pal him your 5. I got adults with me. But yeah, so gonna get the Bacchus wines to cast Berserk on his own characters here. Oh, Rattail gave Luca Key. I see a Legend Sword lit up. I am completely backwards at this point in time. I apologize. So yeah, Luca Key is potentially our item of note here.
Well, it's Luca Key or Val. I mean, neither of which look appealing, but one, at least if we probably want a safe scum here, try to see if the item we're looking for is Harp. If it's not Harp, we can safely not even care about what the boss is at this spot, and then go directly to Val. That's what looks like to be the plan. It looks like CPU looks. I guess I've probably missed the globe. This is second globe, and well, at least the spot, the Wyvern spot, isn't too high in spell power, which is kind of why Wyvern uses Blarg at this spot. It hurts when it hits, and so, but if it doesn't hit, well, at least it's a good day.
Yep. So Nitzy is working his way through orbs here at the crystal Lord altar. He's actually zerking this one. Like he's just going for Globe 199 or bust, I guess, here, because he's trying to go fast. So casting Quake, zerking Kane, just going as fast as is possible through this fight, which is a very fast clear of this boss at this spot, which is always impressive to see. 210,000 experience points on top of that, so it's always going to be really nice. We know this is the pan. We know this leads to half of Go mode. The tail of the rat is behind here. Legend Sword at Sheila 2. Luca Key was at the rat tail, so a lot going on here. If this isn't it for Dragus, he's got probably a little bit of nervousness in the back of his mind, because then this is pretty much a true 17/17 for probably both runners, unless they routed complete Earth first and did that Volvalis, which is very hard.
Yeah, I mean, in the back of the mind, when you're doing a full clear, then it just boils down to who does it fastest. And oh nope, that mock key item. Yeah, here's your magma key. You're already in the underground. Thanks game. So now we know that Val is the required Harp. That's just how the seed rolled, and well, this now isn't so bad. Yes, she punches hard, but no, she's not too bad. You've done your moon grind. There is that she will have her time, and then she will go away. That's fine. No worries. So Nitzy's. Do we have? Oh, there's no exit. This is what it's looking like. This is.
I mean, Nitzy's done Zod. He's just walking up to because he still has the Murasame altar. It's a little arguable which one is faster. I haven't timed them recently, so it's not fresh in my mind. But he still has to come up, and he still has to do the Murasame altar, which we know is the path. So he's hiking it up. Dragus is dropping down. He is here in the land of summon monsters, skipping Dwarf Castle, ignoring the Baron Castle basement throne, and has decided that it's time to do things which are difficult. But it's going to do Leviathan first, which we know is not the answer to the puzzle. But yeah, true 17/17 for both runners, or at least for Dragus at this point in time. We know that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand going for Leviathan. You're hoping that the key item is at the easier boss spot. Well, not this seed. It's out. I mean, you don't know it, so you just pick. It's 50-50 chance you're gonna get the key item you need. So, yeah, so you just pick the one you want. It's fine.
I mean, you've got 2 adamant armors. I mean, how bad could it be?
There's only a few bosses that could ignore the adamant armor, and these 2 are not the ones though. So I'm not probably not. But there's some other bosses would have to at least plan a little bit. These ones you just let berserk characters do berserk things. And it's usually friendly on the ATB. You get essentially free turns, because you're not having to input it, and you're kind of jamming the queue. So it's effectively a time saver in an indirect way.
Yeah, nitzy actually made some really good time through his moon. I have to double check his start time up here because I mean he did sort of slip behind a little bit, but he almost certainly made up some time on the moon here, especially because he did a lot of the Earth stuff already. He knows that he could check the Luca key because he'll get the Luca key from this, but he knows that the only thing that's waiting for him down below is Volvolus, which actually means that the gap closes immensely at this point, all things considered. He's going to pop out of here, though, with the moon completely clear at 142. With the full moon clear under his belt, with the full Earth clear other than Volvolus under his belt as well. So while things were looking a little dire, the moon did not provide for Dragus to give him the big win. And now it's going to be a fight to the finish here.
Yeah, I mean the key items that we really picked up from the moon is the pan, which essentially turned into which was it? The Luca key. So, but we need we need Luca key and something else.
So Luca key already was obtained from Sheila 2. We're looking for the harp, which we know is here and only here, based upon what we know. Nitzy does, however, have to drop off this pan because he can do his free check first. Site Marshal's reporting that Nitzy's moon clear was roughly between 17 and 19 minutes. At 18 minutes, that's a 6-minute gain, which is as 6-minute gains go, you don't get a lot of those in free enterprise. So, big ups to Nitzy for a moon clear par excellence for sure. But yeah, harp in hand now. We knew it was there. You knew it. I knew it. Everybody but Dragus and Nitzy knew it. But he is in go mode now. He just has to go and play the Song of Our People, and then play the Song of Zeromus' People, which is extreme violence, and then he'll be done.
Yeah, and that means we'll get a brief break from speaking. I mean, who doesn't love harp music? I mean, that's everyone on any seas rolled, looking for some music, little break from the action. Hear some music, because harp music is awesome music, and there's been hundreds of tunes based on various games created by Xenocat and Calamity. I think, and it's just so much music. I mean, the great part of completing a seed is that even if you don't find harp, you can go as soon as you complete the seed, go directly to Troy Castle, go to Edward's harp, and go directly to play it immediately. I mean, that's it's just must listen to.
The tough thing here in this run right now is Nitzy still has the giant in front of him, which we know is 2 bosses that are not pleasant in Keinazo no Gapogo. Plus, he still is checking the Earth for other things here, which is to state that he's just gotten his continuing to kind of do checks here, while Dragus was a little more efficient in straight routing to Giant before doing Earth stuff, because it had to be done at some point, so you might as well do it while you're in the whale. Nitzy is going to go ahead and get his Lucan key and his Adamant Armor number 2 here, so we're going to duplicate Adamant Armors. 2 Adamant Armors is pretty good. Dragus is in good shape, rolling up on Dark Elf, the rare save down here, because yeah, the Big Bang, the big Blarg himself, Wyvern, is still hanging around. She's a heck of a character, though.
Yeah, Wyvern at any spot is it's like surprise Blarg, and usually more often than not we have to change to Wyvern Standard Time. But let's just leave it to DJ Spoony B to play his tune.
I'd like to apologize on behalf of our tracker Scythe Marshal for willing Wyvern into existence at this spot. Reminding everybody that Wyvern was still out there at large, in the wild. Obviously, Kane with the Adamant Armor and good anchoring, no problem getting that up, and it doesn't even do that much damage anyway. But yeah, Dragus is going to wrap up Cave Magnus post-haste. Doesn't even let us know what the heart music is. Xenocat said it's from Lunar. I trust Xenocat. He's done so many of these. Crystal Sword for the Cecil we don't have. Man, I thought that was a Shining Force 2 track. God, they're just so many weird esoteric tracks from the smaller RPGs of our age, which is kind of neat. But yeah, 400 plus harp songs. But yeah, done and dusted. Nitzy's down here. He's still got a Volvolus to hunt, so he is going to hit the inn before hitting up Vol here. Still needs to go and head up to the Giant, which is going to be another few minutes, unfortunately, so it's not going to be quite as tight a race as it looks at the moment, but certainly a good fight. Great moon clear, a lot of good work on Nitzy's part. Definitely some bumps in the road for both runners, but Dragus has definitely sort of just kept it together a little better, and so he's going to roll up on Zeromus. Now it is time for the most important question in Free Enterprise.
Yeah, so it's that time. I'm surprised there's no flags showing yet. It's the end of the game. You have to beat. Finally some flags. Yes, the Z. Yeah, because it's another thing to want to take a nap, right? I mean, that soothing harp music was great, but how about some Z's? But it's not that time yet. So the question that everyone wonders about, because final boss doesn't move. Kind of hard to move, actually. Z loves to cosplay. So
get to the butt. Get to the butt.
Whose butt are we going to kick tonight? With side questions like, is it cute? Does it have a butt? How is butt?
Why is butt? The existential question. But yeah, rolling up, Palom's in the middle of this party, but we've got double adamant armor, so this is very clearly going to be a Zerk setup. Is going to pop the crystal here with Kane, because Kane went first. It's going to be Edge second, who's likely to either drink a wine or take a breather, but now he's just going to... Because you can dart with Edge on turn 1 and re-Zerk with Rosa, but ends up just deciding to go with Berserking because he is second in the order. Nitzy's got the Berserks up on Volvolus and is going to work his way through that pretty well. But here is Zeromus now. It's party time. Who do we got? It's 3 butts.
3. From Dr. Mario, I presume, because that's all I can think of. I'm almost sure of this.
It is indeed the viruses from Dr. Mario, ripped off of the old left side of the screen in the magnifying glass, which is always pretty neat.
There's a direct nuke to the face from after using the item, which is considered magic, and Zeromus counters all magic with a nuke. Sometimes a little different. I can't remember, but nuke is pretty strong, and I guess we're going direct nuke. We're not even going to reflect them. All right, let's have at it.
I mean, you want to push, just don't throw up Star Veils, just push, right? Just throw it out there.
Yeah, but you don't want to use white, because using holy magic like Meteor or white will cause Zeromus to use effectively weak, and with Big Bang doing HP leak, this is essentially death to the character, unless you get some good timing and are able to heal that character. But you don't. We're not really worried, because the characters, the adamant armors, will be able to absorb at least some of the damage, and I mean the high HP pools help, obviously, but certainly they'll be doing the bulk of the damage. Palom can contribute.
I mean, Edge took less than 200 damage from that nerf Big Bang. Like my man got hit by the entire Big Bang and was like, I could take 5 or 6 more of those. Where do you got in the back?
Yeah, the thing about Big Bang is it can't miss, so it will always do a minimum amount of damage. So even if it's going to be between 200 to 300 at minimum. And that's before armor, whatever. Adamant should shave off 20 points at least, which is something. But as long as you're taking the single multiplier, you're good. That's damage you can shake off and say, "Come at me, come at me."
I mean, the nukes actually pushed this fight into phase 2, so pushed it past the health transition, which is state that when you deal direct damage to Zeromus at under 16,000 health, he goes back to full, which is 61k, and ends up basically hitching. He stops and loads up his second set of scripts. So what ended up happening with that nuke is that normally you get a nuke counter, but there was no counter with that hitch that was there, as Zeromus was switching to his second set of scripts. There's a reshake from Zeromus. I mean, this Cure 4 is here for, I guess it's mostly for Palom. I guess it's mostly for show. I mean, it's just safe at this point. If the second Big Bang goes off, there's a chance for a black hole, but man, the damage output is, he's just using the nukes as a buffer for bonus damage here to sort of push the fight along. Some runners won't do this. Some runners are just are very happy just letting the two Zergers go here. There's certainly two different schools of thought on that. I like using it to push if my party's health is a little sketchier than this, but with double adamant armor, this is just the gravy right on top.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll probably go straight into Meteor if we even. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, never mind. Microwave time is over, everybody. Fight's over. Fight, good night. Dragus is going to get through and pick up his second win of the group, and nitzy is going to, unfortunately, fall in his first race of the Defense Sword group here. Hour 52:53 for Dragus. Solid sub 2 for basically a 100% run, so always nice to see that.
Yeah, a lot of these seeds will probably average out. Well, ideally 1.5 hours, but 2.5 hours is not unusual. So this is pretty slightly above average. So that's good for the rest of us. But we still have to wait for nitzy to finish up. But this is still a pretty good time. Otherwise, I mean, not a little kind of a sluggish start, but kind of sped up quite a bit as soon as we went to the moon. It's not too shabby.
I heard some beeping, which means that Dragus must be here with us for the post-game interview. Hi, Dragus. How you feeling? How'd that seed make you feel? 17-17, 34-34. Or, well, 32-ish of 34.
Dart was giving nothing. Except a good team. Didn't even have to worry about changing anyone out.
Yeah, once we saw Yang and Sid at the top of the Tower of Zod, it's well, I guess we're good. I guess. Interesting choice of routing, by the way, with that Darkness Crystal. I'm real curious at the, particularly the ditch of Dwarf Castle. What was on your mind there? Not a lot of runners are ditching Dwarf Castle in these flags, but you decided it was time to just ignore it. What was your mindset there?
I think at some point I haven't figured out the start not ditching Dwarf Castle. But at some point, the overworld had basically been so empty, it's I better at least make the moon plays sooner than later.
Yeah, having seen early moon may not have all the key items you want. I mean, at least the important pan that was hard required on the moon. When you took a look at the underground and you saw the King with Emblem spots, what were your thoughts on that?
The king and queen and monsters.
Yeah, it was Val in king spot and Leviathan in the queen spot.
I saw Val and I was like, that's going to be a terrible place. Then left.
Yeah, I would too. It's Val. Surprise Val, especially at the stronger spot. Who wouldn't just look? No, a button. Later.
Yep.
Yeah, I certainly respect I saw, I decided to leave because it looked really bad. But yeah, no, it's kind of an interesting sort of insight into how everybody sort of attacks the moon a little bit differently, because Nitzy's moon was faster than yours, but he also full cleared Earth before, so he did Baron Castle Basement Throne, he did Dwarf Castle that you skipped, he did the Leviathan at Asura spot before you did, because he did that before he went up. So it's really interesting kind of seeing how the routing choices and how that kind of created differentials in the damage throughput here.
I know at some point Adamant Kane would clear through most things on the moon.
Yeah, watch Adamant Games like, don't care. You can tickle me. I'll still live. Everyone can take a nap. That's fine. I'll save the day. And
Like, only care about keeping other people alive so they have XP.
yeah, that was a sight to see. Adamant does. Adamant does change a race. How excited were you to find it in the first place? I think it was in FE March, right? How excited were you?
Yeah, that was a good spot to find. It's like, ooh, this is nice.
I mean, any adamant armor that you can get is always really nice, but having it be sort of like a super early free check, I'm sure influences your play as well.
Like, I'm up there anyways for an objective. Clear that out. Oh, it's clearable by quick.
Having Palom in the party for essentially the bulk of it. Who can say no to Quake Kid? If Quake solves your problems, yeah, why not keep Quake Kid?
I guess neither of us found either a Fu, maybe not even a Cecil.
But there was a Fu. It just happened to be at Dwarf Castle. So probably would you have at the time? Would you have thought maybe if you at the time you were still doing Underground? If you did Dwarf Castle, would you have swapped out a character? Maybe Palom.
Would have been questionable at the time.
You were certainly settled, happy with the party you got. Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines. That was two berserkers, your healer, and Palom. I guess that's.
Yep.
Any other thoughts you'd like to share regarding the seed?
Not really. I guess it really did come down to I skipped things and got through stuff he did faster.
I think a lot of it was also, I think you looted a lot less in sort of that early mid-game stretch before the hook. Nitzy decided it was time to go loot out like Castle Eblin where you didn't. So, kind of a little risk reward there, in that there were bosses down at the hook route were just fine without the extra power level. So, even though Nitzy came up with a bunch of armor and edge swords that you didn't have, it ended up working out all right. And yeah, the other thing was that you went straight to FE March, so you had the adamant armor right from the word go in the underground right after doing tower. Nitzy got underground about 4 minutes behind you, but did tower and then started doing other things before checking the freebie. So had the adamant armor a little later than you did.
Yeah, I think I felt equipped enough because I had already good cane weapons and an okay stuff on edge. It was just a matter of getting levels for magic.
Yeah, you got a starting Gungnir in the beginning. That's who. It's you get most of Kane's power. Who could say ooh? Kane was gonna prime for this seed.
Yeah, he's carrying the seed.
Any other questions, Emery? I'm good here.
No, Dragus 2-0 now. Probably on top of the world in the defense sword group. Any prep or thoughts you've got for the second half of your run through this group stage?
Not at the moment.
A couple more wins and you might not even have to think about a play-in race. Yeah. Might be something that's on the horizon for you. So if you keep playing like this, you might be in great shape.
Yep.
And of course, I certainly look forward to the rest of your races. I know you've been around for a while, and maybe this is your breakout tournament. Maybe a big top finish. Who knows? Lot of tournament to go. So maybe don't think about that just yet.
It has been a good start, at least.
Yeah, certainly. So GG's again, Dragus. That was a well-run seed, and hope to see more of you.
All right. See you guys next race.
And now, of course, Nitzy, of course, cleared out the giant post-haste. I think the big thing that we didn't get to really commentate while we were interviewing was that his Kainazo fight basically had a 1600-ish damage wave in the start of it. He just decided, I'm going to put my head down and just drive through that, basically, with the double adamant armor set up and everything. Which ended up working out pretty well because by the time the second wave showed up, Kainazo took the rest of the day off, and Ogopogo was much the same, taking the biting the dust to a big bolt 3, a lit 3 right in his Sea Serpent face, which actually does really nice damage. Also counters with also a different counter on that, but wasn't really relevant here. But Nitzy, I mean, played this very well. Probably about 5 minutes more of looting and maybe a couple of wipes on Earth before going up to the moon where Dragus was already there. Kind of makes the difference, and that's always a little tough, but it's not to say that Nitzy played poorly. It played very well. Just those little efficiencies, they start adding up over a 2-hour plus seed.
Yeah, it's hard not to try to loot early game to the point where you're comfortable with your loot. I mean, more experienced runners will loot less, or at least loot more specifically and more kind of strategically. Just if it's on the way, it's fine. If it's not, well, sometimes you make the trips early or trips later, to make, sometimes you do your Evelyn check later to just to because you have enough characters or levels to take them on and not have to come back a second time.
Yeah. I think the big thing is that getting the early adamant armor. Adamant armor is one of those things that makes most runners basically shut off the looting reflex, because it's like, oh, I have an adamant armor, I can just do everything. And Nitzy didn't get that adamant armor for a while, so he ended up doing like treasure chests in the Tower of Tower of Babel, and did a little bit more looting. So it's hard. It's an interesting balance, and it's very, very challenging.
Well, yeah, especially when loot is a little more favored towards later sections, where earlier sections don't give. Even despite what being wildish, so really good loot can be in lower areas, but sometimes you really want to get more kind of get it in more difficult areas, or loot specific areas like say the waterway caves, just to get a head start. Sometimes not just looting randomly sometimes gets you into a little bit of trouble in terms of time. So yeah,
there's two great theories in looting that a lot of runners either subscribe to one or the other, which is I want to loot just what's in my path. So like Troya opener, go get Edward's item, loot the boxes in Troya, check the shops, go to launch the hovercraft because I'm gonna need it during the seed, right? Go loot the treasury in Damsian and then move straight to Antlion Cave and just loot what's in my path and not worry about the slightly better odds in like Waterfall Cave because it's wildish. And some people are like, I love Waterfall Cave, I love Castle Eblin, I love doing the moon, I love opening high risk, high reward boxes, and there's kind of two like mentalities that, sort of are the two ends of the spectrum on that. Nitzy's setting up for a Berserk fight though here. It looks like Edge started with the Avenger in hand straight up. And Edge has, of course, two really big ninja swords here, so he's hitting for about what looks like about 8 grand a cycle as well. Gonna set up a wall on Palom anyhow here for the big bangs. So it looks like it's gonna be Reflect White, Reflect Nuke to just sort of push here, just try to get this fight over with the overwhelming amount of power he's got, which I love. I love this strategy. I love the hard hybrid strat. Just everyone's contributing, no anchor, no problem, just go. Make Zeromas die as fast as possible.
Yeah, it's a different strategy from Dragus, who was a little more conservative. Just go. Yeah, Palom will still do damage, do the direct nukes, hope to maybe occasionally trigger make Big Bang weaker occasionally, but let Rosa focus on healing just for emergencies. But this is all out. This is completely opposite. All offense using Reflect. Yeah, this is like kind of like the complete opposite. You still have Berserkers, but how using Rosa is effectively the difference. But it's also safe. It's also safe for a contribution because you prefer not to take the direct nuke counter from Zeromas. You want to reflect things and avoid the counterattack. But that also means the character under Reflect will not be healable unless you use a potion. And that was pretty quick.
Yeah, very straightforward, very academic, 3.5-ish minute zero-most fight, so no rocks, no problem for both runners. But yeah, nitzy's gonna hit the line here. 206.20, a very solid time, all things considered. Again, a very good run. Like, you know, certainly a couple things that could be tightened up to make up that gap, but, you know, from a actual, like, moon routing standpoint, from a, you know, clearing hard bosses standpoint, solid stuff overall.
Yeah, I think it was a little extra grind. So yeah, definitely made the whole moon experience very smooth, including the giant. And like Dragus had a small setback, but it did not, but not enough time to cut into from all of that. So yeah.
And of course, we are now joined by Nitzy. Good evening, friend. How is it going tonight? How are you feeling? You know, tough loss, I'm sure, but how do you feel about your play? Because I think you had one of the more impressive moon runs of this event so far.
Possibly some technical issues happening. I'm not. I'll give it a few more. Give it a few more seconds.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Perfect. Yeah. It was tough. I kind of got a little frazzled because I just wasn't quite getting the gear. I had committed once I went underground. I decided I launched the Falcon. I'm right there. The tower's there. I have the tower key. I sort of committed to that play, and it turns out that I spent a little bit extra time, and I knew time was ticking away, and it just it sucks. You know, and then clearing moon bottom up probably was a mistake, but that's just how I roll that. And you know, if I actually had gotten through Val at Leviathan the first time I tried, maybe things turned out a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think I can understand the looting. I mean, I'm probably a bigger loot goblin, and I can understand. Yeah, I don't think I think that section was kind of nerfed because it was kind of easier. So I think the looting there might not probably it could. I mean, there's a certain point that everyone has for when it comes to looting, and yeah, that the tower looting that was tower looting wasn't too bad. I don't remember what you got, but that probably says what you speaks of what was there. So, but yeah, I don't think Dragus didn't. Dragus skipped Val, so I don't on the first try. I wouldn't blame you for skipping that. I mean, no one Val at the uh, at the Leviathan spot is not something and not anyone just would take on immediately. I mean, I wouldn't worry about that.
No, for sure. And just when I saw the adamant armor come out of the Feymarch chest, I knew I was behind at that point. So I just at that point just tried to scramble, went to the moon, tried to just get through things as fast as I possibly could. Eventually got the pan, realized that needed to do the double dip with Sheila, and yeah, it's just you know, those things happen, and it was a risk reward play. It was a calculated play. In seeds I practice, I've always gotten really good loot out of Lower Babel, and it doesn't take a long time. So I was sort of hoping for that just to kind of firm up. Rosa just kind of running around with her power staff, and tried a couple of different things. I didn't go to many shops, so that was something new that I was trying. And we'll see what happens for the next race. I'm 0-1, but it's a long tournament, and things can change. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, is that with 5 races total in the Defense Sword group, I mean, being 0-1 is not the end of the world, certainly. You pick up a couple wins and all of a sudden you're 2-1, and at least looking at probably a tiebreaker race of some flavor. So, there's just one bounce back race is probably all you'll need to kind of get yourself back on track. So that's kind of the hope.
Yeah, for sure. It's always tough to start 0-1. I don't think anybody ever wants to start 0-1, but some people got to do it, and bounce back. It's definitely an open group. Any one of us could advance as the winner of the group. Any one of us could be second or third. It could be really, really close. I saw races from yesterday and whatnot, and it's just it's a pretty wide open group. So anybody could potentially win. Could still be me. I could still run the table, go 4-1, and maybe have a playoff. We'll definitely see what happens. But I just wanted to shout out, thank you to both you, Deathlike and Demarine, for broadcasting. It's awesome. Shout out to Skype Marshall, doing the buttons, and Alicel for rolling me this amazing seed that gave me the key item in 2 minutes that I'd never had before, and then I waited an hour to find another key item. So thanks, Alec.
Yeah. Had one more question, I guess. So was the decision to not shop a little more? Was that because you picked? I think you were one of the you essentially found a curse ring in Baron, like in the water area, which was that was a good find. I mean, you could at least you had an option to have an anchor set up. I mean, was that the driving decision, or was that or just you just didn't want to shop in general?
It was just it's a great question, Death. It was just a decision I had made. I wanted to see. I tried a couple of seeds offline where I didn't shop, and I seemed to just be able to squeak by with what I got. I didn't happen to get a silk web this time around, so right at the end there at Z, I just threw the crystal again to nerf the first big bang. But I'm finding that maybe looting less and shopping less on these flag sets might prove to be advantageous. Like normally I would full loot Antlion Cave, and I didn't do that because I was just trying to see if I could get something better out of Evelyn. Unfortunately, that didn't quite pan out this time, but it might pan out next time. It's tough to say. It's a really fun game, a really great flag set, and I'm just super pumped and super happy to be part of the tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, again, always a pleasure to see you run, and hopefully get to see you take on a couple more races in this event for sure, Nitzy.
Well, thank you. I will, as always, do my best and let the chips fall where they may.
I mean, it is about that time of the restream. Of course, I'd like to thank Alice for handling the restreaming duties, and Scythe Marshall for pushing the buttons, correcting me in chat, and making me and Deathlike look good. Any last thoughts, Deathlike, before we wrap this up?
No, just I don't know. I rolled enough seeds. Just still, well, not enough though. I think completionist. I can see how just even being more completionist determines whether you're the kind of result. Sometimes it favors you, sometimes it doesn't, and I think, and in this case, realizing sometimes sometimes there's just one key item on the moon that is completely required to finish it. I mean, it could happen to any runner at any time. This seeds generate can do both. It just go. You can flip. I can jump start a runner or slow down a runner. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, this is a fun seat.
Absolutely. So, of course, for everybody watching right now, I tell you right now, you should probably keep your eyes on the Free Enterprise Discord if you haven't joined. Why aren't you there? Join our Discord. Come hang out, but also keep an eye out because the race schedule for tomorrow will be released probably shortly. Once we get all of that orderly and organized. But for now, we're going to go ahead and hop over to the Falcon, the Free Enterprise 2 channel, for the race between Tybalt and Silverfire. It is in the second half of the race. Please don't spoil this race. Do not spoil this race. Thank you so much. And of course, Dragus and Nitzy putting on a great show. Thank you to both of you. And of course, for everybody here, thanks a lot and have a good night.
See you all next seed.